Bali is known as being one of the most visited places in Southeast Asia, and for good reason. This island is filled with beautiful rice fields, waterfalls, beaches, and temples. Not to mention the amazing people, good food, and low cost of living, it's no wonder tourists flock to Bali. Although the island has become quite touristy, it's still a place you should visit at least once in your life. So today I'm going to show you my top 10 places to visit in Bali. The sacred monkey forest is located right in the center of Ubud, Bali, and it's an amazing place to see monkeys up close. Once you get into the forest, there are lots of different paths you can walk along, some of them even leading to temples within the forest. The monkeys in this forest are generally friendly towards humans, unlike the monkeys at Uluwatu Temple. Just don't get too close to them or agitate them and you'll be completely fine. There are also staff there that feed the monkeys and can help you interact with them safely. The Ubud Monkey Forest is open daily from 9 AM to 6 PM and the entrance fee is 80k for adults or 60k for kids. Overall, this is one place in Bali you absolutely cannot miss. Next, we're heading just 25 minutes north to the incredible Tegalalang rice terraces. When you think of Bali, these are probably the landscapes that come to mind. There isn't one specific place to go in the Tegalalang rice terraces, instead it's a large area with many different restaurants, terrace swings, and trails that you can choose from. Our favorite spot in Tegalalang was called Checking, which has a swing and direct access to the rice fields at a much cheaper price than some of the other places. We also found another trail just a few minutes away that led to a nice viewpoint completely for free. I don't know if this trail has an official name, but that's where I got these drone shots from. Since we're already in central Bali, let's continue about 20 minutes to the next place on the list, Tirta Empul Temple. Otherwise known as the Water Temple, this ancient Hindu temple was built on a hot spring over 1,000 years ago. The water from this spring is considered to be holy water, and the temple is a sacred place to Balinese people. At the entrance, you'll be given a sarong to wear, and you'll wear a different type of sarong in the water if you decide to take part in the water ritual. Although some parts of the temple are reserved for Balinese Hindus, anyone can take part in the water ritual, which involves rinsing your head and body in each of the fountains. This is one of the few temples in Bali where I'd actually recommend finding a local guide to show you around and explain the history, because it's just such a fascinating place. The entrance fee here is 50k and the hours are 8 AM to 6 PM. Our next location is all the way at the southern end of the island in Uluwatu. Uluwatu Temple is about an hour drive from the airport in Denpasar, an hour and a half from Canggu, or about 2 hours from Ubud. Once you get into the temple complex, you'll be able to walk along the many paths with sweeping views of the cliffs and the ocean. Even though this temple does get crowded around sunset, I still think this is the best time to visit for the views. One thing you should be aware of though are the monkeys. The monkeys here can be very aggressive, and we even saw a monkey steal someone's glasses at the temple. Make sure to keep your belongings close to you, and it's a good idea not to carry any open bags or wear jewelry. The cliff views are only half the reason we came to this temple though. The main attraction here is a traditional Balinese dance called Kecak, or the fire dance. The performance involves a choir of 70 men and dancers. Overall, this is one of the most unique cultural experiences in Bali, and the Kecak dance is popular among both locals and tourists. The entire performance is about an hour, and there are 2 performances every night. Just be aware that the process of buying tickets and lining up for the Kecak dance is extremely chaotic and crowded. If you just want to see the temple, the entrance fee is 30k, and for the fire dance, tickets cost 100k. While we're down in Uluwatu, just a 10-minute drive away is my personal favorite beach in Bali, Suluban Beach. We went here the next evening after the fire dance and got to see another amazing sunset. The beach itself has no entrance fee, but you will have to pay a small parking fee of 5k for motorbikes or 10k for cars. Then you'll hike down a short 5-minute path to get to the actual beach. Suluban Beach is best known for surfing, as well as having lots of caves, rock formations, and cliffs. The water right near the shore is great for swimming since the waves only get big farther out. One of the coolest parts about this beach is that there are a lot of different restaurants stacked on different levels of the cliff, so you can dine with a view of the ocean. It feels like the whole area surrounding the beach is its own little village, and it's absolutely magical around sunset. For place number 6 on this list, we'll head back up north to the Nungnung and Leke waterfalls. I decided to combine these two places into one because they're both incredible waterfalls in the same area of Bali. Each waterfall is about an hour north of Ubud, and they're about 30 minutes from each other. Let's start with Nungnung. The hike to this waterfall is 500 steps downhill, and it should take you about 15 to 20 minutes each way. There are also a couple of local warungs selling snacks and drinks at the top, and the entrance fee is 20k. At Leke waterfall, we had to park about 5 minutes away from the trailhead and take a motorbike taxi the rest of the way. This is a common thing at many waterfalls in Bali and Java. The locals will tell you that the road is broken or that cars are not allowed to drive further, so that you'll have to pay them to drive you the rest of the way. The entrance fee for this waterfall was 50k, and the hike down was very straightforward. Both of these waterfalls are also not that crowded compared to others in Bali. We went in the early afternoon and there were only a couple of other people at each. For number 7 on this list, I also combined two places, Ulun Danu Beratan Temple and Handara Gate. These are both located in northern Bali, only 5 minutes from each other. Ulun Danu Beratan is a picturesque temple sitting on Beratan Lake. The temple is open from 7 am to 7 pm and the entrance fee is 75k. Since this temple is pretty famous in Bali, it may be quite busy, but it's still worth a stop. Handara Gate nearby is actually the entrance to a golf course and resort, but it has become a popular photo spot, even having its own entrance fee of 30k. Another place we visited in the north is Sekumpul Falls. This is the tallest waterfall in Bali and arguably the best waterfall on the entire island. On the way to the waterfall, we were stopped by some locals a few kilometers before the entrance. Apparently, the nearby village manages all tourism to the waterfall, so you can only go with a local guide. At first, I thought this was a scam, but the local guides were super friendly and know the area well. They tried to sell us a full tour of the area, but we just wanted the cheapest package to get to the waterfall. I forgot how much we paid in total, but it included 2 local guides and motorbike transportation to and from the trailhead. Then we began the hike down to the waterfall. Most of the hike wasn't that difficult, but there were some sections involving shallow river crossings and climbing on rocks. On this hike, we actually saw a few different waterfalls aside from Sekumpul. I don't know what they're called, but we hiked to another area with 3 more equally impressive waterfalls. Lastly, on the way back to Ubud, we pulled over off the side of the road to get these drone shots of the beautiful sunset in the north. On one of our last days in Bali, we decided to venture to a different area of the north called Kintamani to summit the second tallest volcano in Bali. The trek up Mount Batur is a very popular sunrise hike, and although most people do this with an organized tour, we decided to try to do it ourselves. We had to leave Ubud at around 2:30 am and drive just over an hour to Kintamani. When we got close to the volcano, we arrived at one of the parking lots for the volcano and we were greeted by the local guides of the region. The locals explained the tour packages, and again we just went with the cheapest one. And then we started the treacherous 2-hour hike to the top. At first we were just hiking through random farmland, and then we started gaining elevation and seeing other tour groups. This is another place where I'd only recommend going with a guide, otherwise it would be nearly impossible to find and follow the correct path. When we got to the summit, it was already pretty crowded, but we found a place to sit and watch the sunrise. This was such a surreal experience as we were above the clouds and had a clear view of Mount Agung in the distance. One of the coolest parts about Mount Batur is that there are a lot of monkeys at the summit, and if you're not careful, they'll steal your food. Speaking of food, the tour also included a small breakfast of banana toast and hard-boiled eggs. After the sun rises, all the tour groups start to leave at around the same time, so if you want to escape the crowds, you can choose to hike up during the day instead. The 10th place on this list is another beach, this time located in the east of Bali. Pasir Putih beach directly translates to white sand beach, and it's one of the best swimming beaches in all of Bali. Since it's so far from the main tourist areas of Bali, there are barely any tourists at this beach, and it's actually very popular among locals. There's a big grassy area with palm trees next to the beach, and this area is also used to store boats. When we went, there were some locals selling grilled corn and other snacks next to the beach, and the waves were perfect for swimming and body surfing. The entrance fee for this beach is kind of unofficial, but I think we paid 20k to some locals on the road to the beach. I decided to include this as a bonus place on this list just because it was such a unique experience. While we were in the east side of Bali, our local driver took us on a hike through the mountains to his village. The path wasn't even a real trail, and parts of it seemed like we were just walking through the wilderness. At first, we hiked up a small mountain and then we continued into a dense forest. Eventually, we got to a road that led to his parents' house and they prepared a whole meal for us with fresh coconuts. I know this hike isn't really something you can do unless you know a local, since it's not even a real trail, but I still wanted to share this story and show you some of the beauty of eastern Bali.
This is the peanuts and then the like vegetable leaf and a little bit tomato with chili with other eggplant if you like.
I'm drinking out of a coconut in a random village in the mountains in Bali. What is life? And that concludes my list of the top places to visit in Bali. Overall, Bali is an incredible island filled with so much natural beauty, and I could think of so many more places that belong on this list. I put a link to a map with these 10 places in the description so you can see where they're all located. I hope this video helped you plan your next trip to Bali, and I'll see you next time from Bali's neighbor, Nusa Penida.